So don't forget, Kelly and I were going live every day, talking publicly, but we were also talking on the phone. We often chatted on the phone as soon as our live ended because I was also doing all of the post-production. So I did all the work, all the money, anything to do with promoting, all of that was 100% me because I felt like, well, I was a stay-at-home mom and I could do it. It was my idea to have the fan account. So a lot of times we would chat about the show, about, the comments that were made, the drama that was going on in the Facebook groups, the people that hated us. It kind of bonded us also. But I knew that getting ready for BravoCon, she was really, she wanted to lose 80 pounds, which was obviously not going to happen in a very short amount of time. She was very adamant that Jeff is so into looks and maybe didn't like her because of her looks. Because by then we were known, even though Jeff doesn't follow us, he doesn't comment, whatever. We were known as, being a fan account for Jeff Lewis. So at BravoCon, Jeff and Stu get into a horrible fight. So we knew about it. Kelly was actually with him when they're texting and everything. I was at BravoCon. And Kelly basically texts and says, hey, come back over. I come back over. She is crying. I didn't know what to do because my friend Kim was with us. Kim did not know at all how friendly Kelly and I are with Stu, so that we knew things like, when he and Jeff were fighting and it hadn't been said on radio yet. So it was super awkward. And she was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go back to the hotel. Kelly was very upset because she was with Stu at the booth, the BravoCon booth. And so she experienced all of that and, maybe knew some intel. Okay. So she was very upset at their fight and not on Jeff's side. So just to say, at this point, Kelly was definitely having some feelings. Also, the fact that Stu came over and sat with us and said hi at the Ganza board, but Jeff or Shane didn't come over at all. She very much felt like Jeff was mad at us or was looking down at us because we were there. That made her upset because, by then, this is like October, she had been saying, she wished she could quit her job, quit her teaching job. She wanted to be a full-time job at Sirius XM. And I'm like, honey, we have like 600 Instagram followers. Like, what? Because she had started also an Instagram account called Jeff Lewis Chump, right? So we get home from BravoCon and everything seems fine between me and Kelly. We had a great trip. She's staying in my hotel the whole time at BravoCon. We're making memories, videos, all the things, having so much fun. But Jeff, I don't think, was saying on the radio necessarily that he and Stu had broken up. So it's kind of like a couple of weeks of weirdness. Like, were they broken up? Were they not talking? What was going on? But we knew what was going on, right? So I think it was around Thanksgiving is when Jeff found he called it an Apple iWatch, but Stu's Apple Watch, and read, remember those text messages between his stepmom Claudia, and I don't know if he mentioned anyone else, but we learned he definitely read messages between me and Stu and Kelly and Stu. And Kelly was mortified because a lot of her messages were anti-Jeff and, worried about Stu. My messages by then, I had been dealing with Stu and Jeff for so long and the breakups and the on and off. But I by then was that friend that was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm sure you'll get back together. Just take a few days. Because nothing helped. I mean, every time I thought they were going to break up for good, they would get back together. So I stopped being that friend that was like, giving real advice and just knowing they were going to get back together. Kelly, on the other hand, for a lot of reasons, was very unhappy with Jeff. Stuff he said on the radio, the way he treated Stu, just lots of things. And her text messages, although I never saw them, she told me they were very anti-Jeff. So then she really knew, oh shit, now Jeff has really read stuff about me that I've said about him. So whole other thing, right? So early December, we're still going live like 6 days a week because by then we were also doing a Hollywood House Lift recap on Sundays. So we're going live a lot and obviously chatting a lot. Early December, for a couple of days, I take one of my kids and her best friend on a college visit tour. So that happens like the next day. I get ready. I get to go to this New York trip and go to Amy Phillips and Margaret Joseph's show that I'd bought a ticket for. Well, Jeff then announces that he and the Chumps are going to go see Amy Phillips. I knew that I'd already bought my tickets and told Stu that I was going, and then Jeff announced it. But that didn't stop the lovers from saying, oh my gosh, look at her stalking Jeff. No. Jeff announces every live show he goes to, so he knows it's going to bring other, fans, and they're going to buy tickets, and he likes to do that for his people. But also, my friend Annette surprised me and told me she got me a ticket if I wanted to come for the Jeff Lewis and Bethany Frankel audience at Watch What Happens Live. So, of course, I flew up for that. So I'm making so much content, and Kelly's not there with me, probably for the first time ever that I'm doing something really big. And so I even made a video at one point, and I'm like, hey, I'm missing my Jeff Lewis bestie. That's what I called her. And I was like, make sure you're following her, all the things. But I didn't really notice any animosity or anything. I mean, looking back, everyone's like, well, she was jealous because you were doing this, this, and this. Well, I never noticed any of that, to be honest with you. So I have a great time in New York, and we end up going live when I'm in the airport because my flight got delayed. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was nervous because I was doing an Instagram live in an airport, waiting room, which was kind of weird. Something happened during the live that we sort of disagreed on something. It wasn't huge, but it was kind of good because I felt like, it's good to have a differing opinion sometime, just like John Hill and Andy Cohen kind of bicker. So I didn't really think anything of it. Other people told me later that they felt some tension, but I was like, I don't know. So we do the live. I fly home. I have one night where I'm home, Thursday, and then the next day I'm leaving with another friend to go to Atlanta for a Countess Luann show and then some other stuff with my college daughter. So we go Instagram live Thursday night. Don't forget, all this time I cannot start the lives. So I can't do my show at all because I was blocked on Instagram at that time. So she knew that she had to start the lives. So we do the live just like normal. Again, I don't think anything's wrong. Afterwards, I called her like I almost always did to talk about Gage because during this time we were being told by another person that Gage and Scott were dating, but it wasn't public knowledge yet. Jeff hadn't said it on the radio, and this person was telling me and Kelly. So we wanted to chat about Gage. So I called, and Kelly didn't answer her phone. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then I texted her. I'm like, hey, all okay? Because she never not answered her phone. We did the shows at night. That way she could teach during the day. And so she was always home. I get a text that basically said, I don't want to talk to you right now. I need to calm down. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you've been traveling. But I felt like you were very dismissive to me lately, the last couple of shows. And she said specifically, tonight's show, and go back and watch the New York City show from the night before. And I was like, well, I don't have time. By then it was like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I was waking up at 3 a.m. to fly out to Atlanta with a friend. So I didn't have time to go back and watch the 1 hour live that we had done. But also, I had experienced it. I knew I wasn't upset with her. I knew I wasn't trying to be dismissive. So I didn't know what to do. I could apologize for her feelings, for her feeling that way, but I could just apologize for making her feel that way and say, but I don't believe that. She felt like I was talking over her. Well, when you do an Instagram live, I was in New York, she was in California. There's like a split second, no matter how far away you are, where if somebody else is talking and you start to talking, then one of you has to decide who's going to stop talking. And yeah, sometimes we did talk over each other because we had that like half second, 1 second delay.